Well, but here's the story. So I was like, Peter, do you have a DP? He's like, yeah, I have some people. I'm going to link you their IMDb's. And I'm like, and he's like, well, I have this neighbor who's pretty good. I swear to God, this really happened. And I was like, he was like, just check out his IMDb. And I'm like, well, if you like him, let's use him. So like, I swear it wasn't until a week before we started shooting that I looked up who John was. I was like, who is this guy? I should probably get to know who he is. I was like, what the hell?
Let's take a moment and talk about world building. When I walked onto the set, literally on the last day of shooting, because I'm that kind of agent, she's like, if you don't go, you're fired. Okay. I saw a 75-person crew. I saw 3 cameras running at the same time. We were in a big soundstage. I was blown away. I've been on a lot of movie sets and a lot of studios, and I literally walked into a movie set. That's what it was. It was great. So they clearly had to build a whole new world on a budget. Let's talk a little bit about that. Starting with the script and the writing. David and Felicia, you guys put something together. You wrote the script, but you worked closely, obviously, with David.
Well, I didn't work I worked with Michael Laidlaw, who was another. Right. Yeah, I mean, David and I just kind of fangirled out the first couple times I met him. I started trembling, so that was awkward. And
I got an email from Felicia, and I was told that she had some questions, and I was expecting, really general questions. What's a canary? No, she had the most detailed questions that have been worthy of being asked on our forums, things that we clearly had not said about the world. And I thought it was really impressive what she put together. It fits so seamlessly into the world. It easily could have been something that we made for Dragon Age ourselves. So it's really excellent.
Yeah.
Wow, that's high praise. Thanks, David, for talking about my client that way. Okay, so I just got the note that actually Greg Aronowitz, are you here?
Yeah.
Greg,
Greg got here.
Greg, stand up. The production designer, Greg Aronowitz. Greg also did all the costumes and weapons for...
Well, not costume. He designed my costume.
Do you want to date my avatar, I was going to say?
Oh, sorry.
Do you want to date my avatar? But actually, he did do the...
He designed my costume for Talus's costume.
Talus's
so
costume.
It was amazing.
So let's talk a little bit about world building and the look of the series. It does emulate the game. It looks a lot like the game. How did you guys sort of put that together? How did you get the resources to actually build the costumes and weapons? Talk about those challenges.
Well, it's basically... I think when you come to the set, it looked like a big movie, but we didn't have a big movie budget, that's for sure. And a lot of it's because of relationships that we all have, and that people really like the script. And if people like the script, then you can get a lot of favors, If it's a shitty script, everyone's like, screw you. Because it's like, why are you going to do that? But, and John had no choice because we lived on the same floor, so I would just stay at his door and he'd have to come out. But, the look we wanted, especially Dragon Age 2, the look was beautiful. So there was no real reason to create something new there. It was to stay loyal to that look, as far as I was concerned, And then it's just, getting as many good people, like get guys like Greg and John, and then, Bill Mesa, our visual effects guy, he's kind of a legend in this business. He's done so many great films from like Last Samurai. He's like, he headed up Introvision. Actually, Bill and I, the first movie I ever worked on was with Roland Emmerich. I was Roland's assistant at the time, and Bill was working on a company called Introvision. And it's a whole new technology at the time that, he got, a technical Oscar achievement thing for that. And so the first visual effects show I ever worked on was with Bill Mesa. So Bill, just thanks again for doing this. He when you guys see this, you're not going to believe it, because he had literally no money to do this. And I told him at the beginning we had like 25 shots or something, and we ended up like 120. and he got no more extra money for doing it.
Whoops.
It was an oops. But no, people did it for. It was really liberating, because people did it for the love of it. Because one, they loved the game, and they loved Felicia's script.
Yeah, and then we were very careful to take what was in the game and make it. So all the weapons were actually made by Greg's team to match those in the game. So we literally took art from the game, weapons that would be in the game, and fashioned them into reality. So like the Templar sword looks like a Templar sword, and the shield. So those little details were really important for us to do, and everybody really called in every favor possible to make them happen.
Doug, we saw your character briefly in the black and white version of the trailer, which I understand that the color version is now arrived from the color lab.
Does it have sound too? Is it talking?
No. We couldn't do both. But speaking of color, you went through a rigorous makeup process. You play Sarah Boss.
Yes.
Sarah Boss.
Yes.
You are, I believe, a Kunari.
A Kunari mage.
Kunari mage.
Yes,
Ooh,
I have power in my hands. I didn't have to get dirty and fight anybody. I just threw stuff at them. But
how long were you in makeup?
I was in makeup relatively short compared to. I'm used to 5-hour makeup jobs. This is closer to 3, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Anybody? Greg? Yeah, is that right? And Greg Arano's also designed and created that look on me as well. I'm actually blue and white, not black and white. Blue skin, white hair that I tossed around like a diva. Yeah, no, it was a great chance for me to choose scenery and be like this delicious bad guy. Well, you wrote such a great part for me. Thank you.
Okay, I think what we're going to do is going to show the colorized version of the trailer, and then open it up to audience questions. So, everyone, let's all wish upon a star and hope to.
And turn the sound up as much as you can. That'd be awesome. Yeah, no lights.
Turn
That
down
would
the
be good
lights.
too.
Turn on the lights. In fact, no one.
Peace and Jason, could you guys? They did the score to this, and I just have to say they did an amazing job. And when you hear them.
Okay, so the mic's in the middle of the room. If you have any questions, please just come up to the mic right in the center where the gentleman's walking to right now.
He doesn't have a question though.
No, he doesn't. Is there absolutely no questions in the audience? We have one. We have some in the back. Come on up. Come on up.
The Dragon Age Redemption is going to be released as a web series format, about 3 to 5 minutes. Did that affect the writing of the script? Are there going to be like cliffhangers every 5 minutes, or?
As far the episodes are actually range from 6 to 10 minutes. They're longer than that. And yeah, in writing the guild, I transferred the idea of constructing a whole episode with a beginning, middle, and end that feels like a satisfying story, but at the same time leaving you wanting to watch that next episode. So storylines do kind of overarch those episode breaks.
So it's still flow if you wanted like all the series.
Absolutely, yeah. It was designed just like the Guild. You can watch it all together without the credits as a movie. The Dragon Age, it ranges almost an hour worth of content.
Thanks.
Hi, so that was a pretty tantalizing last line to the trailer. The fan community has loved the Kunari and the Air Shock, and especially in Dragon Age 2. Can you talk a little bit more about what that culture will play in the series, and if we get to find out more, and maybe Dave can give us a few tidbits?
To me, the Kunari have always been the most fascinating part of Dragon Age 1, and I was lucky enough to be able to see last year some of the previews for Dragon Age 2, like the story outline, and I was like, oh my god. I was so excited. So when I saw that they were more of a prominent feature of Dragon Age 2, I was like, well, this seems like a cool way to tell a story that has a new spin, but I think the fans would like, and maybe David could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, the Kunari are by far, I think, the most different culture we have in the Dragon Age world. And we've sort of been going through this process of revealing them in by pieces, right? In Dragon Age Origins, you had the character of Sten, who was a singular person who gave a window. Then in Dragon Age 2, you had the Arishok, and you encountered far more Kunari and learned more about them. And the thing I really liked seeing was, it would be so easy to do the Kunari wrong, to make them seem like they're one-dimensional, where in fact, while they could be antagonists, they entirely have a mental process that somebody can understand if you interact with them. And it came across very well in the web series. it was obvious Felicia had done her homework. So it's really interesting to see them having a life of their own outside of the game. Very cool.
Cool. Thank you.
Hi, big fan of Doug and Felicia. Love you guys' work. Definitely The Guild and Pan's Labyrinth, one of my favorite all-time movies. Now, more of like Doug, and open-ended question for anyone who wants to get involved is, Doug, you seem to be like the go-to actor now to be physically tortured by the production crew. I don't blame you. Work is work, and it's always fun.
Don't feel sorry for me. It's a good gig.
But what I would like to know is like the experiences between the previous movies and how it basically pulled you into being able to do this movie. Obviously, you went through what I think you said 3 hours of makeup and all this. Mm-hmm. Now, as a production standpoint, how does that help you get into character and build the character? Do you strictly go on just the makeup design, or do you create like your own little background?
It will start with the script every time, just like any other actor would do. You find how he plays in with the other characters, what's his heart, his soul, his intention, his fears, all that stuff plays in. And when the makeup process adds another dimension to this style of acting, where you now have a look to work with as well. And I was given lovely long fingernails, so you saw a lot of hand shots in that trailer. Me doing, lots to play with. So yeah, the design will often dictate some physicality and some dialogue that isn't verbal, maybe. That's I have worked with some of the best makeup artists in the world. And this show included. They did a great job with these.
And in terms of like the personality, you're looking at the words on the script, mm-hmm. and you know what to say. But in terms of personality, before you even start looking at the final design of the image, how would you create like the final layer of the personality or the vocal tone? When you're going to project that, do you wait before or after the final makeup design's on you?
Well, the vocal tone was changed considerably from what we filmed. It was a little bit tweaked in what you're going to see, because I think that the game he talks down here.
Yeah, they do a vocal effect on the characters in the game, and when we got into cutting, and they were like, we need to match the characters because we actually filmed before Dragon Age 2 was out. So there were some, things that we wanted to compensate in post to make sure that we blended as well as we could with the Dragon Age 2 world.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Where did you guys shoot it?
We shot in Los Angeles, in and around Los Angeles, stages downtown, and then various wood locations throughout Los Angeles, which are hard to find, but we found them.
And Felicia, I remember the 3 months prior to the start of principal photography, you weren't in the best of moods because you were training like every single day.
That's the skinniest you guys will ever see me alive. I am never doing that again.
You
it was
guns.
too much work. No, it was great. I had guns. I did. No longer. Yeah, I took it really seriously, and it was a lot of pressure because I was doing Eureka at the same time. Then I was finishing this script. We were in pre-production because it was months of work to build these sets and all the weapons on Greg's part. And then we were in pre-production. And I was like, get yourself in shape, lady. So it was hours a day working with Tom Williams, our stunt coordinator, and learning how to, be convincing with the knives. And I also want to say that, just the look, if you look at some of the scenes in the trailer and see, there's smoke and all these amazing kind of scope, that was all Bartley working with the special effects team to really make Malibu looked like a New Zealand forest almost, and he did an amazing job with his use of light. There are certain scenes where I'm just like, it looks like a painting. So I just want to thank John for making it look pretty.
I noticed in the audience also we have one of the producers of Dragon Age and also the producer of The Guild, and I want to acknowledge Kim Evie in the audience. So Kim, can you please stand up? And in front of her is Sandy Perique. Okay, so I think time for the next question.
Hi. So my question had to do with some of the video game elements being brought into the web series. I was wondering, I heard how there would be Templar armor and the Templar sword. Will some of the popular characters, or the Mage Tower or the Mage Circle and Blood Mages, possibly be in there? Because I love blood mages.
But you're a blood mage aficionado, huh? Yeah. Did you sleep with Meryl?
He looks like an Isabella.
What?
In the first game, though, I had to sacrifice the boy.
Oh, you should play number 2. You can get busy with that. Some of the limitations of filming and some of the we had to customize some things, but we did there are certain moves. If you'll notice in the trailer, there is a critical strike. The sword double bladed rogue move, and we tried to get various moves in there with the fight choreography and some of the spells. I think we actually worked.
Yeah, we did actually. We got actually elements from BioWare that Bill Mason, the effects guys. We used those and patterned the spells after that. And like I said, like Felicia said, we did a lot of fight training where some of the cool moves that we thought we could portray, we used in the web series as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
I've got a few questions. I'll only start with one. It kind of spans the spectrum, though. It's in the evolution of the web series. So we, through whole video, motion pictures and serials up to television, now the web series. Being a process, what do each of you envision as the next step beyond web series? Will it go back to TV or to motion pictures? And how does it affect each of the roles that you have in the production?
I mean, I don't know if we could say beyond web series. I think it's, if you notice, all those are an introduction of new technologies. So basically, we love to be entertained. And if we have a new technology and new ways of being entertained, I think that's going to usher in the new formats. I mean, to me, I don't know, if you watch, from what I understand, when BioWare makes games, the kind of motion capture that they use and voice capture, if you look at L.A. Noire, that kind of technology where they're literally capturing an actor performing, and then you're being able to interact with that. I mean, maybe you guys could talk a little bit more about where you think video games were, because I think that's where narrative is going to go.
I would say that video games and motion pictures are slowly converging in the way they're both created. Yeah, so there is a lot of room for cross-pollination for sure.
That kind of ties to the second part of my question. I wasn't going to ask, but what do you use as a starting point? I mean, we've got video games leading to movies and stories going to video games. You just go with what you know and hope for the
you
best.
go with what you know and who you are. It's all about the story. It doesn't really matter about anything else. You start with the story, and whoever you are, wherever you're starting from, that's where you started. Like for us on this one, it started as a web series, and but a video game can get a movie going, and it can go the other way around too. The only difference there is really between video games and movie storytelling is the length. You know what I mean? Because the video game's got to come up with 40 hours of story, where a movie's like 90 minutes, 120 minutes. So, but it all just depends. Like you're a video game guy and you have a story, you're going to probably start with a video game. If you're a movie guy, you're going to probably start with a movie guy. The web series, you're going to probably start there. But where it starts from and where it goes, it can now go pretty much anywhere.
I think you should start with naked people, and if a story comes out of that.
Thank you very much.
Hi, mine's more of a just quick comment. One, it's really exciting to see where all those tweets that Felicia did of, I'm filming my super secret project, I'll tell you later. It's great to finally see where that's come from, because everyone was just favoriting those, going, we'll see soon, right? Yeah. So that's great to see. And secondly, you've already talked about this, but it's also just great to see of what you were talking about, of everyone came into this project because they knew someone or they liked it. And it was just really cool to see what you did on such a tight budget with the trailer, but just it really kind of shows that you don't need a couple zillion dollars to do something. If you have people who really know what they're doing and really just want to work on it, you can come up with some really good stuff. So that was just a thank you to all of you guys.
Thank you.
Hello. I was wondering two things. The first thing, when is it going to start rolling out?
We do not have a release date as of now, but I
Later this year.
It's going to be later this year, probably in the early fall. That's what I would project, but I don't tweet that.
Good. Also, I want to say, Felicia, what you were saying about the attention to detail you guys have given, I really appreciate that. Especially because oftentimes, video games and any kind of like TV or movies, they don't have the best track record together. So, but after seeing this, I'm really hopeful that, this can really help turn the tide of that. So I was curious, as the web series matures and the games continue to mature, if we'll see an organic crossover of the storylines so that future installments of the games will play off of elements that may happen in the web series.
I mean, I can't speak to that. I know that when I was crafting the web series, I really did try to make sure that it was very, very true to the world in case any of that were to happen in the future, and also just integrated as a whole. Like you said, there have been some really horrible video game movies, like awful, and I could name a bunch, but I don't want anybody to record that. But and to me, I think that's the problem when the Hollywood kind of the mentality of trying to broaden the reach of the video game to the point where you kind of abandon where the fans started from the game. I mean, I realize they need to appeal as many people as possible, but I think then when you look at the numbers where the video game industry is making more money than the movie industry now, that hopefully David, I don't know how much, it'd be 5,000 novels worth of world that you've invented, right? I mean, yeah, 5,000, right? 5,000 is precisely exactly how many. But the depth of storytelling that he knows about the world, and to remove that from that creative world and try to just kind of skim the top of it for a movie, I don't see any reason why the creativity can't be controlled more from that end.
Well, I think what happens is you start working with an outside partner, who maybe knows something about the world or the story, but they're not overly familiar with it, and they have their own ideas. And I think that's what often happens, is that you end up with people sort of with very different ideas about what it's supposed to be. But when you start off with someone like Felicia who believes in it and actually likes it, then you end up with something that maintains the spirit, and that's that we have, and that's hopefully creates something really special.
Yeah, well, the thing we've been trying to do with Dragon Age is trying to make sure that everything that's created is canonical, to give us the opportunity to revisit these characters, revisit these scenarios in the future if we want to. The great thing in this case is that Felicia's been so respectful of the lore and of the IP that's been a much easier thing to do.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Hi. The danger with being near the end of the line is that you've actually answered a lot of my questions already. But let me add a little spin, though. It seems to me that good media has the same elements, just great writing, engaging characters and settings, and passion for the source material. But the difference between some traditional media and this or gaming is the engagement of the fans or the viewers. So you already answered my question about the possibilities of video games morphing into more movies and then back to video games. But maybe, Felicia, if you could specifically answer, did this occur to you with your seasons of The Guild? Did fan input impact how you crafted the episodes to follow in each season? It seems to me that if you do keep the canon of Dragon Age and then build new video games off that and then maybe another static film, that would be just a real cool marriage. But specifically with The Guild, did that affect your creation of it?
I mean, just the format of web series. Obviously, working with a web series format, a lot of us, it's a emerging format, and you can't say, hey, there's a rule, it can't ever be over 2 minutes, or there are a lot of rules people have. But I think, what I've learned in the years of making web series and looking at other web series and saying, hey, that was well done because of this, or that didn't work because of this. Generally, it's a faster pace of storytelling, and it's a kind of storytelling that retains your attention, because you're not just watching something on your cable that's 80 channels. You're watching something on the internet, which is 1 million channels. And on the internet, a piece of web content that's video is kind of almost on the same platform as a blog entry. So you're fighting for people's attention, and that's why I think it needs to be even more immersive and more community based, so that people can share their love or hatred of what you're making in a really passionate way. And I'm sure Dragon Age has such an amazing fan base that feel really passionately about it, and there's a sense of ownership in that the fans feel like they're invested in the world, and that's I think that's kind of the definition of Comic-Con, but at the same time it's kind of the definition of working in a web series format, especially in the genre. And I don't know, you guys can talk about the community you have around the game a little bit. Maybe not.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
Definitely Dragon Age has an extremely, there's strong 5 minutes. Definitely Dragon Age has an extremely strong community, well-versed, highly opinionated. They tell us when they're angry with us and when they're happy with us, definitely. So I think these are people that I think are interested in the world, not just interested in consuming a game or a specific piece of content. So I think that this is a great opportunity for us to serve those people that are really interested in the universe as a whole.
Thank you.
So we have time for a couple more questions, but before we do that, I just want to remind everybody that Felicia will be appearing in the Guilds panel Saturday, 4 o'clock at the Indigo Ballroom at the Hilton next door. So I think some of you actually may have seen the Guild once or twice, and we certainly encourage you to attend that panel.
And there are a couple more BioWare panels, I believe, too, right?
You know when the BioWare panels are happening?
No? Okay.
No?
There are more of them.
They're in the schedule. Star Wars: The Republic at 3:30 where? In 6 BCF, whatever that means.
That's right.
He's on that one. Yeah.
10 a.m. tomorrow, David Gator writing video games.
We'll probably make it.
I might have an email somewhere.
Same place, same
So,
time.
David, you can just stay there. We'll work around you.
Oh, I'm in the Reaper panel tomorrow as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my question is regarding approaching brand advertisers. Is the medium at a certain point where you no longer have to produce shows, garnish a viewership, and then approach brand advertisers, that you can approach a brand advertiser with a pitch and an idea, and they can come on board?
That's a big web series question that would take a long time to answer. I would definitely say that it shifts every year. This year, it seems like brands want to develop the idea from the ground up a lot more. The Guild was very unusual in that Xbox picked us up after we even made a whole season, which really hasn't been done again in a general rule. I'm sure there are exceptions, but the web series world is very open, and the more people keep watching streaming and watching traditional media online, I think web series have the opportunity to grow. But at the same time, advertisers are always going to look toward reliable intermediary sources like Xbox to guarantee distribution, or a big producer to guarantee maybe a perceived level of quality. It would be hard for somebody who's an independent person who doesn't have a huge track record to go directly to a brand. Even the Guild tried that for years, and we didn't get that on board until we had Microsoft. But there are ways, and that's the cool thing about the web world, is that you can find ways around the traditional establishment and prove everybody wrong. So I wouldn't let that be a barrier, especially if you have a great story you want to tell. You can have your garage and 2 cameras, and you can make something that can motivate millions of people, like you look at YouTube. So but it's definitely a place that has a lot of barriers, but a way around barriers.
But essentially, they still need to see the demographics to really garnish, pull in that money.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
They really need to see the demographics to pull in that kind of money.
Yeah, it just it's hard. It's hard. You need a pigeon, this guy.
But I'm not taking pitches, thank you. One final question.
Hi. Oh, this is loud, sorry. First of all, I'm geeking out to see Doug here. It's so cool. And my question is, you don't have a date yet, but do you have where it's going to be available, like YouTube or some place else? And most importantly for me, is international or just...
That is being worked out right now.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't say anything more specific, but I can definitely say that my personal goal is that as many people watch it as possible, and I'm sure BioWare wants everybody to watch it.
Absolutely, yeah. We're trying to get as broad distribution as possible, yes.
Yeah.
There are people in this room working on that question now.
They're on their phones. or maybe not. They're tweeting.
Okay, so that was Dragon Age panel. I want to thank our guests, John Bartley, David Gator, Mark Guerra, Doug Jones, Peter Winkler, and Felicia Day. Thank you all. Enjoy Comic-Con. See you at the Guild Con.